I'm freeing you and myself from that song. Hey everybody, welcome to Good Morning Source Gaming. I'm going to bring in Colin, and let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
Alright, Ah,
Yeah?
yeah,
Yeah?
yeah,
You're gonna come in with that tone?
yeah. I'm just gonna, this is how
A-
we do things around
After
here.
playing that shit?
I remembered how to do the topics thing, so I've set that up. We have it on screen now.
Oh, nice.
Amazing! What a technological advancement. Yeah, so it's been a while since the last Good Morning Source Gaming. Um,
Yeah.
Last time we left off, we were like, yeah, we're gonna make sure to do this more often. Um, at least it hasn't been 6 months.
There's been too many games.
We've
It's
got
just
we've got
more
so much to talk about. Like,
more gaming, less news. I mean, like
yeah,
the we're gonna become another channel. It's like every week, like, all right, here's another fucking embarrassing thing Microsoft said during the FTC hearings.
yeah. I think we have so much to talk about since then that even though there's just two of us, um, we can probably handle it. We can cover it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So what should we do first? Should we just go right into what we've been playing? Because there's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because, like, oh, give me a second. You know what? You kick us off
Oh boy.
because
Uh.
I know you had like a whole thing. You had a couple things that you
Let
mentioned.
me see if this goes off screen. Oh, it sure does. Let me just make this smaller.
Clearly, you're excited.
I have a few things that I need to talk about. All right, so I'm gonna continue off with the string of games that I alluded to last time that I was playing. By string of games, I mean one game. Honkai Star Rail. I was playing Honkai Star Rail. I said that the reason I was playing it was because I witnessed something that was like peak fiction. I reached it. It was peak fiction. Um, it's awesome. Full spoilers for Honkai Star Rail and spoilers for everything I'm gonna be talking about today. I'm sorry. If that affects your want to play these games, just come back here when you've played them. But yeah, when you reach the boss of the first planet, Urilo 6, um, the music for that fight, uh, when the boss unleashes their uh, ultimate attack, kicks in vocals, and it's very cool. It's very cool. I really like it. Um, and then after that, they released the 1.2 update, like 1, 2, 3, maybe. I don't know how long ago it's been. It's been time is an illusion at this point. Uh, but yeah, I played the 1.2 update, and that was awesome. That was great. Even better than what I just described before. I'm planning to make a video about uh, one of the things from that update. Uh, just like the plot, the presentation, and the music just blew me away. Um, so I ran out of things to do in Honkai Star Rail. Now I had the knowledge that Honkai Star Rail, like Genshin Impact before it, was an AU for a previous MiHoYo game called Honkai Impact Third, which is also an AU of games before it. It's every game's an AU. Don't worry about it. Um, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna play Honkai Impact Third to fill the time while I'm waiting for new content. And and I went into it. I played the first two chapters, and I wasn't really feeling it. It felt kind of unpolished. It felt very much like a mobile game in a way that Genshin Impact and Star Rail don't. Um, so I fell off, but I decided all these people are talking about the animated shorts for Honkai Impact Third, and I'm going to spoil the shit out of Honkai Impact Third.
Oh
Uh,
no,
and
I'm
I
covering my
was,
ears.
I was, I had the villain of Honkai Impact Third described to me in an extremely crude way, but it was very funny and it made me interested. I had the villain described to me as a man who uh, blew up the universe because he had no bitches. And I'm like, how does it get there? How do
Oh
we get to
no.
that? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch the animated shorts, and I'm gonna experience a very abridged version of the plot. And so I I watched the first short. The main protagonist turns evil. It's like, oh, this all right. Um, and then in the second short, um, the protagonist mentor figure dies in a blaze of glory to restore them to their their former self, and I fucking lost my goddamn mind. The presentation was amazing. The song kicks in right when this character is unleashing their ultimate attack. It's fucking incredible. And I'm like, holy shit. So I was in a Discord call while I was watching these, and I was like, you guys gotta fucking see this. And I have since then shown every Honkai Impact Third animated short to at least four groups of people at this point. Um, I am obsessed. And so I got to the animated short with the main villain, and it's a longer one than usual. It's 9 minutes long, and I'm like, huh. And in that 9 minutes, the story of the villain, his motivation, and his end, everything about him is perfectly distilled into those 9 minutes. I was like, holy shit, this is actually like amazing writing. It's it's incredible. The villain, his actual motivation is not too far off. But and I may be getting some stuff wrong because I haven't gotten to the story proper in the game when this happens. But so the villain lost the woman he loved um 500 years before the game takes place. Uh
Man, that's a bummer.
so he has been living all of this time trying to bring her back. He has made clones. He has
Uh-oh.
done genetic experiments, awful things, and he came to the conclusion that in order to accomplish his goals, he must become the villain. Um, and that is interesting motivation. But what really gets me is that uh, every time he fails, he resets the timeline. He basically nukes the previous universe, which is where that thing came from. And so the short, which all of these shorts are actually cutscenes in the game. They are the actual game's cutscenes. Um, it consists of him fighting against past versions of himself until it manifests into the monster that he sent to try to serve as a distraction so he could rescue the woman that he loved. The monster actually killed her. Uh, good job there. But yeah, his biggest regret is doing that, and so he's fighting against his biggest regret. Um, and
Oh no,
once
he's reaping and sowing.
he sure
Oh
is.
no.
Um, what ultimately happens is that he gives his own life so that she can live again. And he doesn't get to see her like he wanted to, but he ultimately accomplishes his goal, and that was very interesting. And then they play a montage of the two as children with the most beautiful song I have ever heard. It's called Regression. You can look it up. Honkai Impact Third. It's an amazing song, and when the chorus hit in that song, and I heard the beginning words of the chorus, it begins with "Every night brings a dream, but the day relentlessly keeps me awake." I heard those words, and like fucking Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny,
I get it
I
now.
get it. I understand this character completely.
When
Holy
you
shit.
when you type Honkai regression into YouTube search, the second the first like search prediction option is like regression reaction.
It's a
It's
great
just,
song.
it's just people being like, "Oh my fucking god."
Yeah, I've seen those videos. They're fun.
Holy shit. Oh my god, yeah, there's so many of these.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that blew me away. And so I am on this wild ride. I am experiencing it from beginning to end. And you know what's really funny about
What?
Honkai Impact Third? It's gotten to the end of what they call Part One, uh, which is like 35 chapters in game. They
Hmm,
release these chapters in chunks. The first two
gotcha.
chapters were released, and then there was a gap. The moment I got to chapter 3, the presentation changed and it got much better. And then I got to chapter 9, and you can immediately see the budget hit this game because they give
Oh
you a
no.
character in the first level who has extremely flashy attacks, like covered in particle effects, and the animation is so much better on that character than it was on anything before that. And characters, when they talk, have full 3D models that animate and emote, and I just immediately realized, oh, this is why this is a gotcha game. I see now. They're funding the actual game.
Yeah.
This isn't just like to make money, although that is the ultimate goal. This is also, we're going to actually make the game better. And I've been spoiled on some shit that happens later. I saw a boss fight with goddamn Yakuza QuickTime events, and I'm like,
Oh man.
all right, okay. I am on board until the end of this thing. I'm in it. I am following the Hoyo Stands story guide because this game was released in a specific order, and it has everything that you need to do in order on that site. There's some stuff you can skip. There's some stuff that doesn't matter, but I gotta tell you, when I got to the end of phase 1 of part 1, and I saw that I had to read a 65 chapter manga, uh, I was like, maybe not. And then after I finished phase 1, I was like, okay, I'll go back to it. It's a prequel. I could do it later. Um,
That
so I went
sounds
back to
really
it.
daunting for like a mobile game.
Yes, it is daunting.
It's just like
However,
catch up on the lore.
yeah, I read that 65 chapter manga
Oh my god.
called Second Eruption. It is one of the best things I've ever read, actually.
Oh my god.
It was enthralling. I read it from start to finish. I could not put it down. I I blitzed through it, and I was just like, holy shit, this is really good. This is actually the best thing that this company has ever made. I I I am in it. I'm fully in it. Honkai Impact Third is my favorite game ever made at this point. Um, so I look at some behind the scenes stuff, and I watch an interview, and apparently at some point I'm gonna guess around like chapter 6, because that's when things start getting fucking wild. Um, chapter 5 is where things start getting wild. Uh, there was a point during the game's development where they let a writer sit down and do whatever the fuck they wanted, and I can definitely see that in this end product. Um, this game is amazing, and I highly recommend it. There is a mobile game grind to it. It does have the problem of you needing to play it in chunks. However, like, I don't know, I started like a month ago, and I have like over 200 stamina refill things from just playing the game normally. I don't know, man. They seem pretty generous with this stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't care if you like hate it on principle because it's gotcha. Fuck that, man. This game's fucking incredible. I adore it.
That, I mean, that is like a lot of high praise. Some
Yeah,
crazy high praise.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, like I don't doubt it.
Honkai Star Rail and Honkai Impact Third are so good that I'm like, maybe I should pick up Genshin again. And I picked up Genshin again, and it's good when I'm actually playing it. But dude, the story in Genshin is so slow all the time. And I'm like, I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, damn, I could be playing Honkai Impact Third instead. So I'm trudging through Genshin. I'm getting through the new region that they added a year ago, and then they added another new region like
Mm.
4 days ago, which I also have to get through. But I'm hoping it picks up. I'm only at the beginning of the fourth region of the game, and I like it. It's cool. I like the culture. I believe this is uh, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I believe the fourth uh like area is based on India. I hope I'm not wrong.
I mean,
I
I'm
could
not gonna know.
I could look it up right now. I have a phone right here.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
I
plop that in.
suppose.
What is Sumeru based on? India, Middle Eastern countries, and Egypt. Okay, I was right. I just didn't get the whole picture.
And
So
now you
yeah,
know.
that's cool. I highly recommend Honkai Impact Third. If that seems a bit daunting, you can play Star Rail. Star Rail's super self-contained. Everything's in it from start to finish. Impact Third has links to like the manga. It's on their official website. It's in the game. You just have to like open a browser from the game to read the manga. And as I said, the animated shorts are also just in the game as cutscenes. Um, so that's cool. I really love these games. MiHoYo, if you're out there, I do take sponsorships. uh, I adore
Port it to
these games.
Switch. There we go. That's how you get the big
Uh,
bucks.
they could probably get like Impact Third on Switch. They could probably get Star Rail on Switch. That's like a turn-based RPG with small areas. It's not an open world game. They could totally do it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, uh, So I think you should go first before I talk about the third thing that I did. So I'm gonna hand it over to you.
All right. Hey, welcome to my TED Talk about boomer shooters. Wow. Wow. It's this yet again. Because in late July, Night Dive released their remakester of Rise of the Triad, which is a crusty but lovable uh like spiritual it's really weird. So like id Software made Wolfenstein, and then their publisher at the time, Apogee, told them to do another, so they made Spear of Destiny, which is like a weird Super Mario Brothers 2 The Lost Levels version of Wolfenstein 3D. And then Apogee said, do another. And then id said, no, we're making Doom. And then they self-published that, and then that happened. So instead, Apogee created a new team of people who started making a game called Wolfenstein Part 2, Rise of the Triad. And then they just made a new game. Instead of making it about Nazis, it's about a cult who kind of look like Nazis. It's all digitized graphics, which is really cute. It's still in the Wolfenstein 3D engine, but this is 1995, so they knew that like not having like any elevation at all would look really unimpressive, so they added like so all sorts of fucking wacky video gamey like moving platforms and shit. Like it's still definitely the Wolfenstein 3D engine because no wall is round or like diagonal, it's just all blocks. But there's all sorts of crazy Indiana Jones shit happening in the levels to compensate for that. And it's really uh it's really wacky. I mean, I guess they use ludicrous to describe the game on the box, and I fair. Um, and like all these other Night Dive remakesters, it comes with like a billion things. So it comes with like the prequel shareware episode, and then it comes with Extreme Rise of the Triad, which is like a Super Mario Brothers 2 The Lost Levels of uh no, honestly, it's more like Super Mario Brothers 2 The Lost Levels is an extreme Rise of the Triad of Super Mario Brothers because it's so much more dickheaded. And then they hired a bunch of new boomer shooter devs like the Dusk developer to make a like a new like episode that's like 20 something episodes long. So that's cool, that's sick, that's neat, that's how every video game remaster should be. And then just 2 weeks later, they just dropped the same exact remakester, but just swap out every mention of Rise of the Triad with Quake 2.
Huh?
And because Quake 2 is a remakester by Night Dive Studios that comes with the base campaign and two expansion packs and the N64 version and a new episode by Wolfenstein, the New Order developers, Machine Games. It all comes back to Wolfenstein, baby. And I just full of QOL improvements. The Quake 2 remakes there's like really fucking weird because it's basically a whole new boomer shooter but with a Quake 2 skin on it
Hmm.
because so much of Quake 2 was cut right before it was released because like
Ah.
Quake 2 is uh like Quake 2 is probably not Night Dive's biggest project as a whole cuz like they just remade System Shock as like a beautiful video game. So like that's definitely like their largest project. But as far as like games they've handled, like Quake 2 is a triple A 1997 video game. So as far as like I guess scale or at least like franchise scale, this is sort of the biggest game they've done. And I mean, that game was like a powerhouse and was like crippling PCs at the time. So, uh, like when they were going through the id vault to like, oh, this is like there's some other crazy shit that both of these things have. Like I could talk for fucking hours about the content of these things. Like how Rise of the Triad comes with not only the original soundtrack for the game, but the Andrew Hulshut re-recorded soundtrack of the 2013 remake of Rise of the Triad because it's all the same tracks. And then Quake 2 comes with an entire id vault that comes with like concept art and like trailers and all that sort of guff. And then it also comes with just playable like E3 demos and like beta levels and stuff. And while they were going through the id vault, they were finding like all these extra uh like AI like enemy AI like programming that was like cut final minute from the game because fucking computers wouldn't handle it, or like extra sections of maps that were like still in the map data but they had been like sort of quartered off because again PCs at the time would not be able to run it. So they just enabled all that shit. So if you've ever played the original Quake 2 and you're like, that game is all right, this is like better, just on principle of like just having it does feel like a much more complete package now. And it doesn't feel like it's like sacrificing anything with the original release. It does all feel like perfectly natural into into how the game was designed and like presented. Night Dive's really good at doing that. Uh and then yeah, Jesus Christ, Machine Games just made a new campaign for Quake 2 and it's as long as Quake 2 and it's like
Huh?
basically nothing like Quake 2 because now you can just put as like standard Quake 2 was made for 1997 PCs, so they can only put like 3 enemies on screen at a time. You can now with they got these fucking levels where they have like 30 enemies on screen and it runs at like 60 FPS on the Switch and it's crazy. It's
Oh my
insane.
god.
There's some really, really, really good work put into these remakes. And the more insane, and I think the most insane thing about both of these remasters is that the Rise of the Triad re-release was $20, which is that's a great price for everything they offered in there. And then this Quake 2 thing is $10 or free if you already owned Quake 2. That's a lot of video game. That's so much video game.
Yeah.
It's also like it's really fascinating too, definitely with Quake 2, because I mean Rise of the Triad, all of Rise of the Triad plays like Rise of the Triad, except for Extreme Rise of the Triad, which plays like torture. There's even a warning before you go to play it. They're like, this isn't even fair. Like, but with Quake 2, it's interesting because Quake 2 was like, as I said, it's like a AAA 1997 PC game. And then, but all the other campaigns it includes are almost like they share the same gameplay, but like design wise are almost completely different. Because you have the N64 version of Quake 2, which Quake 2 is not going to run on an N64 in any way, shape, or form. So the N64 version of Quake 2 is like an entirely different video game. It's more like Doomish, it's more Half-Life-y. And so I mean, if you don't like Quake 2, then you have a more boomer shootery Quake 2 right there. And then you have the 2 expansion packs, which are introduce a whole bunch of crazy shit. So if you want Quake 2 with crazier shit, there's that. And then the new Machine Games thing is also like going for like a more Doom, Quake 1. Someone on Digital Foundry mentioned that Machine Games, before they were Machine Games, they were part of Starbreeze and they were working on those old Riddick shooters. And there's definitely a
uh,
bit of that in this episode too.
well, huh?
Because
That's
these
crazy.
these new levels are huge. They're like these massive sprawling environments. They're like it's like going from like a Half-Life 1 level in Quake 2 to like yeah, to like a Doom Eternal level or like a Doom 2016 level, but with like way more enemies. And also it's like Quake 2. If you have the Nintendo bucks, like if you or like Game Pass or whatever, like on it, like check it out. Like and also, I mean the Quake 1 re-release, same thing, Machine Games did two banger like episode packs for Quake 1 and they're included in the re-release and like is that not what the people on Twitter who post the like I want like cheaper, shorter games by developers with with worse graphics, and I'm being serious.
Yeah,
Because that is what that is. Machine Games gave us a 5 hour new Quake 2, and it's $10. And
that's
they could get
that's
away with it
something,
because it looks like Quake 2.
dude. My friend was telling me about the Quake 2 uh new version, and they were talking about the N64 campaign specifically.
Yeah.
Is it true that that's like much harder?
So Phantom and I were actually streaming it last week, and we were playing it on Nightmare, and uh it's like I think really like the most of the difficulty of Quake 2 comes from the fact that the enemies in those games are like really tanky. Like they take a little bit more shots to kill than you probably would expect from like a Doom enemy. And that's because again, they could only put three bad guys on the screen at a time, so they got to make them, real chunky. Uh so the N64 is like, you got to think about the limitations of the N64. So you're just thinking about like even more cramped hallways, especially with these like enemies that they'll throw like two or three of these berserker enemies who have these like they can fucking like jump at you, and they have this huge AoE. And I mean, because the N64 campaign in this Quake 2 remaster is not so like Quake 2 on the N64 was not running on like id Tech 2. It was running on like a custom engine, but they had like backported all the Quake 2 assets to it. But this is running in the Quake 2 engine. Like they basically made a Doom 64, Quake 2 64 mod for Quake 2. So that means that it like not only plays like the PC version now, which uh kind of like you know re- redefines how the whole game plays because now you can bunny hop in it. But you can't crouch though. If you try to crouch in the Quake 2 64 campaign, it prevents you, and then it literally puts a message on the screen that says Quake 2 64 does not support crouching, which is very weird and specific. And then I realized it's because you can crouch jump in Quake 2, and it would probably like break things even further. But the further you get into Quake 2's like Quake 2 64's campaign, where they just start throwing like all these fucking enemies at you that can do all these crazy attacks, and now they have new AI that knows how to kill you even more efficiently, and the hallways are really small. Yeah, like it can get to be like a bit of a slog. Um, but I mean like what was it? We played for like and we played with lives too, so we had to like restart whole levels like a few times. But like the game's only like an hour and a half long, I think, in total, and we got through like 85% of it in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So and on Nightmare too. So yeah, I mean it's tough. I wouldn't say it's like hard. We only stopped because we were getting sleepy. We saved at the beginning of one of the levels, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see if the ending of Quake 2 64 is like the hardest video game ever. I mean, with co-op, it's even easier because then you have two beautiful baby darlings like bunny hopping with fucking grenade launchers through these like Half-Life corridors. But yeah, I mean, if you want to shoot things, there's a lot of really good options for games where you shoot things, and Quake 2 is a really good
Yeah.
one. It even has
Honestly,
multiplayer. Oh, like it. They even included cross-play, cross-platform multiplayer
huh?
that includes like a bunch of modes, a bunch of maps, a bunch of uh uh like you can save your progress, like you can save rooms and just like pick up later. And it has split screen on every platform. It's 4 players for Switch and PlayStation, and on Xbox and PC, it's 8 player split screen, which I don't like. Sure. Why not?
I I've been meaning to eventually play Quake, and you're convincing me. I'm gonna try to give it a shot when I can.
Hell yeah. I mean, Quake 1 is like an all-time banger. That's like it's got Trent Reznor's sound design. It's the last like id game to be like a proper combination of the efforts of like the classic id crew with Carmack and Romero. And yeah, I mean it's sick and these re-releases are like dirt cheap. They go on sale for like $2. I hope they backport all the id Vault stuff from Quake 2 to Quake 1 and like maybe the Doom re-releases. I know the Doom re-releases were not Night Dive, but it would be really cool if Bethesda's just allowing them to just, dig through the archives and just throw that stuff on a Nintendo Switch game for $10. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd
This
be
stuff
cool if they
sounds
added more of
awesome.
that. Yeah. Should I finish Quake 1 first or jump into Quake 2? Finish Quake 1. It's like, yeah.
I can't imagine it's a very long game.
No, they're all like I mean I think Quake 2 out of everything is the longest and it's only like 4.5 hours long. But yeah, that's some cool shit, and it's on everything. The Rise of the Triad remakes only on PC now, but it'll be on console later in the year.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's me shilling Quake 2, but it is really fun. I mean like as I said before, like performance on it on every platform. I've been switching between playing it on the Switch, my Steam Deck, and Xbox Series S, and it's like, yeah, I mean, 60. There's like some drops on Switch, but that's because like the new Machine Games campaign is like ridiculous. If you're just playing standard Bog, Quake 2, or anything else, it'll probably run fine. Series S, 120 FPS. Steam Deck can run it at like 200 FPS. It's just good shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
So, Colin,
Yeah.
how
Yerm. Oh yeah, you got
familiar
one more thing to talk
how
about.
familiar are you with Garten of Banban?
None whatsoever.
All right. So I've tricked you. I've fooled you. Fooled you all.
Uh-oh.
This is the Garden of Banban recap stream. Uh, so I I need to give some preamble first to explain why I even did
What
this.
the Oh, I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Twitter clips of this, but I've never engaged with this. I know it's like 4 games and they're all out on like the same day or something.
No, that I'll explain. I'll explain. Don't worry. I I
What's
have
going on?
I okay. So I so the reason that I played Garden of Banban
Can you
is
put this? Hang on, I'm gonna cut you off because this is important. You need to put this on.
I'm not gonna put that on screen,
You should
but
put that on
all
screen.
of the user reviews are like that. Don't worry about it, okay? Okay.
You-
So so um so I my friend, he's in the chat right now. His name's Wario the Legend. He, for some inexplicable reason, we do not know why, started spamming people's DMs with the character from Garden of Banban, the Opila bird. Just the render of the Opila bird, constantly. He would send like 80 instances of the Opila bird, and it would be unprompted. He would just do it. I'm expecting him to do it like literally right now while we're streaming because it's funny. So this endeared me to the Garden of Banban series, which I was aware was like kind of shovelware. My impression of it was that it was shovelware. Um, so I also have another friend, the user formerly known as Shockwad, who streamed Garden of Banban 1 to our friend group. Um, and so we asked them, will you play the rest of the Garden of Banban games if somebody buys them for you? Because the first game is free. If you're unfamiliar with Garden of Banban at all, the first game is free on Steam. It runs like shit. You may need a gaming computer to run it, but it's like barely even a half an hour long. If you don't know what it is, I play it for yourself. It's very funny. If you want to just hear me tell you everything about it, though, that's perfectly fine too. So they never followed through with that promise. So I said, all right, I'm going to do it because I am notorious for committing to bits and overcommitting. I follow through with almost any kind of bit that I have planned. So I played all 4 Garden of Banban games. The 2 through 4 were donated to me by friend of the channel Huff. So Garden of Banban 1. So Garden of Banban is about a kindergarten in which all of the children have vanished, and they were seemingly abducted or killed, we don't know, by the mascots of the kindergarten, who are like cartoon characters. For the purposes of 1, you only encounter 2 of them. The Opila bird, which is the only enemy in the game. It follows you, and if it encounters you, like if it touches you, it jump scares you. It screams in your face. It's very funny, actually. It is extremely funny. And after you've escaped from the Opila bird, you encounter Jumbo Josh, who is this giant green thing that's supposed to be like a gorilla or something, who like he climbs onto your elevator and then he knocks it over and the game ends. So this game is incredibly simple. The only 2 activities in the game are you can use a drone to you can command a drone with the left mouse click to pilot it into wherever you point. You basically literally only use that to hit switches on the wall. That's it. That's pretty much 90% of the gameplay in Garden of Banban. The other 10% is walking around and pressing E on things. And the only form of quest design in Garden of Banban 1 is basically just like picking up objects. You pick up items that you have to feed to the Opila bird before it aggroes onto you and tries to murder you. And so I must add, actually, that whenever you pick up an object, the counter on screen is broken. It only says you have 1 of that object every time you pick an object up. I don't know if that's supposed to be, oh, you picked up 1 object, or if it's supposed to show the total number. Whatever the case, it's confusing. It doesn't work. So yeah, that's Garden of Banban 1. Any questions?
Oh, did it cut me off going for
I
like 10
well,
seconds?
I heard it there.
uh
Okay, so Garden of
Earn.
Banban 2.
Okay.
Garden of Banban 2 is the worst one. It's kind of
Oh,
boring. So
that's
you start off the game. It starts off funny. It's promising. So you enter the gymnasium from Squid Games, um, and then you are being chased by a funny jump scare blob thing that has like a giant gaping mouth with teeth, and it falls from the ceiling if you let it get on top of you, and it's funny. I think it's called like Nab Nab, which is Ban Ban backwards because they're yeah. So in Garden of Banban 2, you're being guided by this voice over an intercom. This voice is one of the two developers of the game, and it is very bad. The delivery is very bad. It's charmingly bad. And you now solve puzzles, which are incredibly simple, but you know what? Fuck it. They're puzzles. They work. It's not like awful. And and then you eventually get trapped into a classroom with Banbalina, which is a female Ban. Uh, don't worry about it. Um, and you have to use tape recorders with little descriptions of what they are on the desks to answer questions. Um, I don't remember them exactly. I was in a fucking haze when I was in this part of the game, but I believe um there's one where you have to give an example of like being generous to somebody, and the tape recorder you have to play is just like a child saying, "I'm gonna beat you up" or something. Okay, it's funny. It's
no.
actually genuinely funny. Uh, so then you escape from that classroom, and then you're in a hallway with. Oh no, that's before that. Okay, before the classroom, you encounter a snail who yeah, it does say I am going to beat you to death. It's something like that. It's funny. Um but yeah, there's a snail who it's the Squid Game first challenge. When it looks away, you move, and when it looks at you, you can't move, or it
Oh, it's red
speeds
light,
up.
green light.
Yeah, it's red light, green light. It
Hell yeah.
also can go through walls. So even if you successfully escape into the room that you're supposed to run into, um, it can get you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So the end of
Uh-oh.
Garden of Banban 2 is you're picking up uh chicks from the Opila bird, and Wario, you're the expert. What's the other bird called? I'll wait for their response. We're on ultra low latency, so I'll get it soon enough. But yeah, there's a
That's
Tarda bird. Okay, Tarda bird's the male. Opila bird is the female. They make little bird versions of them that are like docile and don't try to kill you, and they're actually quite cute. They're funny. You have to pick up a bunch of them, put them in a nest to distract the Opila bird so you can run away. Um, and so you go down another elevator, and that ends the game. Every game ends with you going down an elevator. Um,
wow.
so that's Garden of Banban 2. It's the worst one. So let's move on to Garden of Banban 3.
Oh.
Garden of Banban 3 is oh wait, no. I'm wrong. There is one part that I neglected to mention. The voice over the
Christ.
intercom is actually Banban himself, and he comes into the room and knocks you out after luring you into a room. And he says sorry.
Oh,
Also, yes, there are cannons that you shoot fireworks out of, and you have to shoot them like 10 times. You're on a timer. It's boring. It's tedious. Anyway, Garden of Banban 3. Garden of Banban 3 is where things get a little kooky.
mm-hmm.
So Garden of Banban 3, you encounter this big ass orange jellyfish who lags the game when they're on screen because they are an absurd amount of polygons. Um, their name is Stinger Flynn, and so they connect with your mind and they astral project you into their memories. Um, and I shit you not, when you play as Stinger Flynn for these instances, you play through sections of Garden of Banban 2 that you've already played. And I'm just like, all right, guys. I should add, for context, with every Garden of Banban game, they 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 list the next game on Steam when it comes out. And there's a link to the next game at the end of the Garden of Banban game that you just played.
Okay.
Um, yes, this is that kind of game. Anyway,
Okay.
so Garden of Banban 3. We're at Stinger Flynn. Okay, so eventually you make your way to an operation room, where you are introduced to several mechanics of a puzzle in the span of 30 seconds, and you have to keep track of. So, you must combine two different colors to make the correct color that's on the screen to inject into the monster. That you must satiate. You must keep it sedated, or it will kill you. You also have to keep the power on by pressing the alarm buttons on the wall. And not only that, you have to also keep track of 20 different colored lights and make sure that they're all green. And with each one of these things, if you ignore it, a timer ticks down for each one of these mechanics. And when one of those timers empties, the monster wakes up and kills you.
Oh.
I spent 20 minutes trying to do this, and I gave up. And then a friend of mine who was watching said, "Oh, you can just ignore the colored lights." Yeah, I'm watching this person play it, and they just ignored the colored lights, and they just won. So I
That's
ignored the colored lights,
ridiculous.
and I won that on my first try. So I continued Garden of Banban 3. And I shit you not, the next Stinger Flynn hallucination sequence, you wake up in a car with three of the other cartoon mascots. You have Banban, Stinger Flynn, Opila Bird, and yourself. You are all sitting in a car on a road trip. And when you wake up in this car, you turn to Banban, and he says the words, "So, you're finally awake." And it was at that moment that I realized, oh no, they're self-aware now. So, within like 20 seconds of this happening, uh, Stinger Flynn puts on like fucking rock music, and this is the moment where it stops being a horror game. It is full on parody now, and it's incredible.
Damn.
The whole car ride is like Stinger Flynn and Banban arguing, and they're and Stinger Flynn's threatening to kill Banban because he keeps making snide remarks. And then they crash the car. And then you wake up and I shit you not, like when that happened, and I got back into like the game proper, I was like, what the fuck, man? So then you get to the next section of the game, in which you have to go through a very long hallway sectioned off with about 8 doors that you have to open individually each time. And at the end of that hallway, there's a boss fight. You have to hit the weak point 3 times. It's a genuine boss fight. I was floored. They start playing like exciting music during it when in this game where there's barely any music whatsoever, and I'm like, what the fuck is even going on? So after you do that, you get access to a room where there is an Opila chick on the ground, and that is an obvious trap where the Opila bird and the Tarta bird are waiting in the wings to ambush you if you get close to their precious child. So
How long are these games? Like 30 minutes each?
Okay, the first one's 30 minutes. The second one was like 140. They're all kind of like 140, except for the first one.
I was like, wow, these are really dense half hours. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, so you lure away the Opila chick with a noise machine. And when you pick it up and you try to cross the threshold of the door, the Tarta bird comes careening at you from the rafters. But there's a sign in this room that says, to appease angry bird, jump on it and interact with it in midair. And I'm just like, okay. So I jump on the Tarta bird, and suddenly I am riding the bird. And I'm just like, what the fuck is even going on anymore? And
wow,
then you
how
get
majestic.
So the Tarta bird is meeting up with the Opila bird, and so you have to put the Opila chick on top of the Opila bird, and you're sitting there with the Opila chick, and at that moment, you are the Tarta bird's child. Anyway, so Stinger Flynn comes in, and he's like, haha, you see, Banban has been fooling you this entire time. Sorry, Banban. It's funny. He says you'll get banned. Anyway, so Banban now has this funny fucking face where he looks like the devil from Devil World. And he wants to eat your pancreas, which is funny. So this then escalates to a fucking chase sequence where you are being chased by Banban, and you are riding on the Tarta bird, and you have to speed up and slow it down in order to successfully clear checkpoints, because you are in a long ass hallway with like 15 doors, and the blue doors, you have to pass the checkpoint first to get through, but the pink doors, the Opila bird has to go first. So you have to slow down, and then you have to speed up, and you got to prevent yourself from getting from Banban catching up to you. So at the end of this sequence, you reach a staircase, and the Tarta bird and Opila bird, they Banban comes into the room, and then he gets ambushed by, was it Jumbo Josh or Stinger Flynn? Anyway, all three of them are fighting. It is an all-out battle. The Opila bird and the Tarta bird run away. They run up the staircase. You're still on the Tarta bird's back. And so they're fighting. Jumbo Josh, Stinger Flynn, Banban, they're all fighting. And Stinger Flynn seemingly kills Jumbo Josh. And at this moment, the Opila bird's mouth opens like agape, like it's shocked. And then you get off the Tarda bird, and the Opila chick gets off the Opila bird, and then the Opila bird and Tarda bird both jump into the inferno that has been created in the ensuing battle, because there were, I think, explosions. I don't remember. They jump off into the flames. I remember there being flames. There might not have been. Honestly, it's funnier if there were. The Opila bird and Tarda bird commit suicide, and so you are left alone, and you have to continue to the next floor with the Opila chick going to the elevator before you, and you go down the elevator together. So that's Garden of Banban 3.
Wow. Uh, there's more, or is there more on the way?
There's more. You see,
Oh,
Garden of Banban 4 came out just a little bit ago. And Garden of Banban 4 was the moment where my enjoyment of Garden of Banban went from ironic to genuine.
oh no.
These games are so shoddily made, so awfully put together. They are so poorly optimized, but I respect the work on display. I respect the hustle, and honestly, they're trying at least to make it interesting. It's not just shovelware. It is very quickly made stuff made by amateurs who are trying to build their skills and having fun doing it, and I can feel that.
Yeah.
So Garden of Banban 4 begins with you coming off the elevator with the Opila chick. You pick up the Opila chick, you start walking. The boss from Garden of Banban 3 runs into the scene, and you gotta escape it. It's a chase sequence. You gotta run away from it. And you go all the way through it and get stuck. You successfully escape it. So now you start using the Opila chick to do switch
What?
puzzles. You put the chick down and you stand on the other switch. It's the most basic shit, but because of my endearment to the Opila bird family, I'm like, damn, this is cool. So then in the next room, you get jumped and knocked out and dragged by your legs. And then you wake up in an interrogation room. And I was taken aback because the new mascot monster in this game starts speaking to you. And instead of, like, you know, the amateur stuff like that was before, there's voice direction this time. The actor playing this character is putting in a performance. It's surreal. And so you're answering questions for this sheriff character. And so I lied to him about every question. And I found out that this game remembers your dialogue choices.
Oh man.
Your choices matter in Garden of Banban 4.
Banban will remember that.
What the fuck? So you're let out of the interrogation room, and then he's like, "All right, we gotta go meet the queen." And then you're led into this fucking Renaissance fair ass, like, fake kingdom where there's a queen at the top of the stairs. Is a queen giant rabbit who apparently has the naughty children in her pouch. And if she laughs once, they burst free and the world is doomed. It's a
Damn.
kangaroo. I'm fucking. It is a kangaroo. I literally said pouch. I'm It's been a while. It's been a long day. Don't
Mm-hmm.
worry about it. Anyway, so the plot of this game is that there's a jester who's gone rogue from the kingdom. And they are planning to try to make the queen laugh to release the children. Um, so you have to fix the elevator to escape the kingdom. And so you're sent on a uh, MacGuffin hunt. Um, and so you, this is the moment where I'm like, I really actually genuinely like this game because when you get to the elevators to progress to the next area, the sheriff says, okay, we need tickets to ride the elevators, and we need two for each of us. So that's two for me, two for you, and two for Little Beak over there. And he's talking about the fucking Opila chick, which has been following you for the entire game. And I'm like, oh my god. So they have successfully contextualized the goddamn Banban fetch quest where you just pick up items around a room. Um, and made it so that I actually want to do it. So 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 I'm playing the game, and the next puzzle is Nab Nab is trolling you and hiding in the vents like the funny imposter from Among Us. So you have to use the Opila chick, which will chirp if you get too close to Nab Nab hiding in the vents. And I'm just like, oh my god, they're using the Opila chick as an honest to god gameplay mechanic. And I'm like, holy shit, they're doing things now. So I get to the end of that. I bring back the elevator part. And then the queen says, there's a friend who came while you were gone and is waiting in the infirmary for you. So Banban is there waiting for you, and he's super depressed, and I could not fucking believe it. Even the goddamn weak ass like voice acting from the like creator who's voicing Banban was decent this time. And I'm like, what the fuck even happened behind the making of this goddamn game? So Banban apologizes. He said that he says that he lost control of himself, and that he's willing to help, and he'll be waiting for you at the elevators once he uh, pulls himself together. So then you are guided to the end of the infirmary hallway, which I must add is a like the rest of the rooms in that hallway are holding cells, which as you go through the game get filled with the other mascots because the sheriff is rounding them all up. And at the end of the hallway is a desecrated like Stinger Flynn. He is basically incapacitated, and you communicate with him, and he gives you another vision. So this time, after the car has crashed, you're all sitting around a campfire. Now, I must add, the car crashed in the desert, so how we got to a forest campfire setting, don't worry about it. So they're all sitting around a campfire, and they're eating cabbages, and they're having a good old time and talking to each other.
Wow.
And then they hear a noise in the distance.
Oh.
It's the sound of a train. Are you familiar with the horror game mascot character Choo Choo Charles?
Really? Really? There's
Fucking
a
Choo
crossover?
Choo Charles shows up out of goddamn
I mean,
nowhere.
I guess like I mean, I could like the second I saw any sniff, any like little view at these Banban games. I mean, like obviously, I don't think you could make something like this without at least being like wholly aware of like Scrimblow horror. Like you
Mm,
don't no one like makes this having not seen like fucking Bendy and the Ink Machine
yeah,
or something. Like there's no way. So like uh it makes sense that yeah, like they would be I guess up and up on the culture
yeah,
of Scrimblow horror. And yeah,
yeah,
I mean all of these games are made by like 1 to 5 people dev teams.
yeah,
So I guess it's like it's partially not surprising, but I think this is like the only time this has ever happened,
uh
and
huh.
that's crazy.
That
Yeah.
it is completely out of nowhere.
You
Okay,
don't see fucking Baldi's Basics showing up in yeah,
Five
I
Nights at
guess in
Freddy's. Fuck it.
yeah, in
Um.
Slender Man.
So the Choo Choo Charles tries to kill. I think it was Ban Ban. And then Ban Ban is saved by Nab Nab, who communicates with Choo Choo Charles, and tells him to stop.
I'm
Um,
just imagining like following up that sentence with Rick Moranis and Spaceballs going, "Everyone got that?"
yeah. So the funniest goddamn thing. This game has genuine comedic timing. So during this whole thing that escalates, eventually the car that crashed in the background explodes,
Of
and it's
course.
like you hear and see the explosion for like 3 milliseconds, and it hard cuts to you back in the hallway. I was
Wow.
genuinely laughing for like 2 minutes. Um, uh, it caught me so goddamn off guard. So then you you go back to the elevators. Ban Ban says, "Hey, I've been waiting for you. Where you've been? Haha." So then you take the elevators, and Ban Ban starts saying, "I don't think we've been properly introduced yet. My name is Uthman," and I'm like,
What?
"Huh?" Uh,
What?
and I look it up, and there are like lore papers all around Garden of Banban.
Yeah, of
That's just
course.
like, of course, they're
Yeah, of
always
course.
here.
There
And
always is.
it mentions like Uthman being like the head scientist in the Garden of Banban facility or some shit.
Someone could correct me on this, but doesn't this house have people in it? Like, doesn't it have a complimentary website with like 10 fucking hours of just like video to sift through?
I have no idea. I've only
Yeah,
played
that
the
shit is
games.
crazy.
So like, so before this point, I had been ignoring the papers, like glancing them over, seeing like keywords, and just like exiting. After Bam Bam gave that speech, I started genuinely reading the lore
Oh
papers.
no, that's how they get you.
That's how they
No.
get me. Um, so you're hanging out with Bam Bam. He's guiding you through this area. You have to solve a few puzzles. You encounter the jester character in a funny joke room, and you continue on with Ban Ban, and he says, I need to go deliver this imposter, and he kidnaps the fucking elevator train conductor, and I don't even know what the fuck is even going on anymore, and he's like ferrying him to I think Jumbo Josh. I'm not sure. Jumbo Josh gets captured by the sheriff with an elaborate trap that he set up, which is very funny. Um, and so Banban brings the train conductor to the edge of like
By the way, Jumbo Josh sounds like the name of like a really jolly Nintendober.
uh, but yeah,
What?
uh,
What am I not aware of?
I have a friend named Josh.
Oh,
He's a silly guy. Uh, anyway, so he brings the train conductor to like a railing, and he's like, "Come and get him." And then Nab Nab shows up and kidnaps the train conductor, and then Bam Bam's like, "No, you cannot have him. Let's follow him. Let's get him." And so he fucking sprints after Nab Nab, and he's like going after him with fucking murderous intent. And you
holy
have to
shit.
like catch up with him, and when you catch up with him, he's in like a secluded room with Nab Nab, where you can only like see them through like glass. And during this, the power is flickering, so it goes dark. And then the power comes back on, and you see Bam Bam fighting Nab Nab. Power goes off, power goes on. You see him go sicko mode, and he like punches Nab Nab across the room. Power goes off, power goes on. Bam Bam's collapsed on the floor with a trail of blood from Nab Nab, who is dead. Basically,
What the fuck?
by the way, these characters, they die. I think you noticed that I said Jumbo Josh died in the last game.
Yes.
And I just said Jumbo Josh got captured in this game. Yeah, character death means nothing in this fucking franchise. Anyway, so
It's like fucking Charlie the Unicorn.
I am
it's just there to they're just there to freak you out.
yeah. So Bam Bam is like on the floor. You talk to him, and he goes, "I don't know what came over me. I have given in to my baser instincts." And he's like, "I need to lie down for a while. You go on without me." So you take the elevator part, and you never see him for the rest of the fucking game.
Oh no. That's so sad, so tragic.
Yeah. So you get back, and by the way, I have neglected to mention this the whole time, but you are in this series apparently playing as a human who's supposedly trying to find the lost children who have disappeared in the Garden of Banban.
Okay.
So when you get back to the kingdom, you have a one-on-one with the queen, who says, I very much applaud you for looking for these children. I hope that we are helping you in some way. I just ask one favor of you. Once you've found them, please come back every once in a while. I get lonely." So then you leave, and that's just like, okay, they're gonna die next time I come back anyway. So you go to the final place with the final elevator part. You pick it up. I don't even fucking remember what the last puzzle was. It's a blur to me. I remember you piloting. I remember everything. Oh my fucking god. All right. Okay, so you go through a quick puzzle room, and then you end up in this four-way room. The jester's in the middle of the room. It's an obvious trap. You walk into the room, he runs out, and he summons the Kittysaurus, a giant cat dinosaur boss who you have to lure into red panels to activate them. And they keel over and collapse once you've hit all four red panels. So then you go into the room, you find the last part, and then I believe you're incapacitated. Whatever the case, the jester gets the upper hand on you, and he heads back to the kingdom before you. the tensions rising. You're running. You're going back to the kingdom, and the jester is there already with the Kittysaurus right next to him, and so you enter the queen's chamber, and the queen is uh in a defensive position back on the balcony, with the Opila chick at their side. Um, and so the jester angers her, and she jumps down, and in doing so, she creates a shockwave in the room, making the Opila chick fall into a vat of unknown liquid. Uh, I screamed when this happened. I thought the Opila chick was dead. So the jester is talking with the queen, trying to express how angry he is. And then the Opila chick has turned into a giant Opila dragon and emerges from the vat that it fell into, and then gets into a kaiju fight with the Kittysaurus. I and I and they leave the scene, but as they are going, you see them fighting, because they don't have like the budget, obviously, to animate an actual kaiju fight, but they have enough to show them fighting for at least 5 seconds before they leave the screen, and it was fucking awesome. So then the jester tells an awful joke. The queen says, after like a baited pause, that was awful, and then starts laughing. And this giant purple beam erupts from her pouch, and the sheriff like runs into the scene, and he's just like, "No, the naughty ones are escaping. We gotta get out of here." So then you're supposed to follow the sheriff back to the elevator, and during this you're being chased by the jester. However, on my first attempt, the sheriff stopped walking, and then the jester caught up with me and jump scared me. I was not actually scared. That's just what I'm referring to him killing me as. Gotcha. Anyway, the second time it worked. I escaped the jester, and with the sheriff, and we took the elevator down together, and that's the end of Garten of Banban 4.
Wow.
So then on the fucking final screen, it says wishlist the sequel on Steam now.
And there's 2. There's 5 and 6.
And it says Garten of Banban 6. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I check the Steam page, and I must add. I keep saying I must add things, but I don't know how to properly say these things, and I remember things when they come up. But when I previously said, when a new Garten of Banban game gets released, the next game is already listed on Steam.
Yeah.
When Garten of Banban 4 released, 5 and 6.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
And from the looks of the Steam page for 5, it's gonna be some weird ass prequel that's reusing the areas from the first game. At least those are the ones we see in the screenshots. I don't know what's going on. It's definitely probably an asset flip to fill the time in for making the actual sequel to 4, because 4 was delayed. Garten of Banban has been releasing on, I believe, the first Friday of every month since the first game, but 4 came out later. There was a gap, so I think they're using this filler to make more time for peak fiction when Garten of Banban 6 launches. So, I guess I'm in it for the long haul, and I'm going to keep playing the Garten of Banban games. First Friday of odd numbered months. Okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, these games are enthralling. I see a lot of people hate these games because of what they represent. They're low quality games that are just pushed out there.
Yeah.
But
From the
like,
outside looking in, they do just look
yeah,
like a Baldi's
they're
Basics.
they're, they're not well made. They are barely, like, by definition, functional. They are optimized like shit. I must add again. So the first game has no toggle for motion blur, and it's got like default ass Unity motion blur. It's awful.
Yeah.
So they added a toggle for motion blur in the second game and the games after that.
Hmm.
In the video options for the first game, there's one option, and then below it there's an option for VSync. In the second game, motion blur is between those two options. However, when I disabled motion blur, I noticed my frame rate was uncapped and the screen was tearing constantly. And I couldn't figure out why. The VSync option wasn't doing anything. When I got to Garten of Banban 4, I had a thought, because I noticed when I launched the game that it was running at a steady 60 frames per second. Instead of uncapped to like 220 or whatever the fuck the other games ran at when Stinger Flynn wasn't on screen.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when I disabled motion blur, it was running uncapped again. The goddamn VSync toggle is the same as the motion blur toggle. If the Euphoric brothers are watching this video, you should fix that. I don't know
They
if
just
you're
mapped it
aware
to
of
the
this
same
already,
thing.
but that's broken. You guys should fix that. I played 4 with motion blur so I wouldn't get screen tearing, and it was a little disorienting. I got motion sickness from the motion blur.
What
I
engine are
am
these on?
going.
Unity?
Yeah, it's on Unity. I
Okay.
I am going to play Garden of Banban 5 and 6. I am saying good things about Garden of Banban. I insulted it a little bit, but it comes from a place of love. I genuinely enjoy your games. Please fix
Wow.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, get them optimized on Steam Deck, baby.
Steam Deck could probably power through them as long as you
Yeah,
turn the
yeah,
options
no, for
down.
sure.
Like, I usually get a solid frame rate when I turn the options down to just like high, except when Stinger Flynn is on screen. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, these games were. I was not expecting to like them. I was expecting to ironically play them and go, haha, funny, bad. And I genuinely smiled. I laughed with the game. It felt like I was laughing with the game, not at it, as time
Yeah.
went on. And I can't wait to see what they do next.
Hell yeah.
Um, I that's it. That's the Garden of Banban recap.
There it
I
is.
have definitely left out some parts of the games that I did not remember very clearly because I'm bad at taking notes. And if you want to see what I have not said, you can go play those games for yourself. They're good. They're they're enjoyable. I should
My
not say
my
that they're good because there's a lot of room for improvement, but you know what? They're not the worst games that I've played, and I actually quite enjoyed them.
wow. I mean, yeah, they do sound like a hoot and a holler.
They are
My
incredibly enjoyable, especially if you play it with other people.
my brain feels like it's it's like that video of like what a submersible implosion looks like. It's just like what the there's so much to take in. God damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, I, dude, I don't really like know much about the lore, but just experiencing the cacophony of the escalation of this series that began as like a basic ass slender like honestly, if they actually, because I noticed 4 was way more optimized than previous games, like it was running better.
Yeah.
If they are learning the technical know-how and can do more sophisticated things as they keep going along, I am excited. I can't wait to see what kind of nonsense they do next. It's genuinely actually been a brighter spot of the last month, and the last month for me has been pretty bad. So
Okay.
I thank the Euphoric brothers for providing me unforeseen joy in these trying times. Um, but yeah, that's the Garden of Banban recap.
Wow. Um. Uh. I'm in awe. I don't-
I'm going to change the title of this stream to Garden of Banban recap now.
oh no. That's how we get that good search engine optimization.
Yeah, I also tagged this stream with the game Garden of Banban 4. Like it's been there
What
from the
mascot?
beginning.
I got a question. What mascot horror character do you want in Banban 6? That's a good question. Um, probably the little guy from Aversion. Remember Aversion?
Oh my god.
Remember Aversion? Am I dating myself too much? 2010 Aversion. It's on Steam. It's $4.99. Uh, let's see. Aversion. Yeah, I mean, huh. I guess Bendy would be funny. I will say this. I will say this from everything you've told me about Banban compared to compared to something like well pretty much every other mascot horror thing. Uh it's actually cool that it seems like they're building these things up like in the game cuz like I always find it so fucking cheap. Like I know it's like uncouth to just like sit here and just like say this is just like they're just rushing this project out to get a profit or something, but you really do get that with like I don't know like some of those fucking Slender games. Baldi's Basics really does give off that impression, and then of course all of them are like no you got to read the lore, it's all about the lore, it's not the games aren't important, but it seems like here you're getting some wholesale entertainment
Yeah,
with
there's a lot on the wiki about lore, and like honestly, aside from the Oathman shit, which intrigued me, I didn't care. Um, but the actual like events in the game, there's things that happen, which is surreal to me. I had never quite played.
oh they should put the submarine from Iron Lung in Ban, they have to all go on the submarine from Iron Lung in Ban
You
6.
know, Markiplier is playing the Bam Bam games. What if they get Markiplier in Garden of Bam Bam?
They call an airstrike into the Hello Neighbor house, they just fucking nuke it from orbit.
They give a voice to like Nab Nab or some shit, and you just like
The neighbor's been compromised.
Nab Nab like starts speaking for the first time, and it's just like, "Hello, everyone. My name's Markiplier." And it's just like, okay, all right.
If they did that shit in a Duke Nukem game, they would have Duke Nukem be like, "Goodbye, neighbor." He would fucking
Oh
hit a big
god.
old button.
Oh my god, dude.
Time to get banned.
They, I said they literally make that joke in the game.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I'm
it's
just thinking of how Duke's saying it. Oh.
Choo choo Charles, huh? Well, Charles, you're choo choo. I don't fucking know.
A train. Those. Hang on, hang on. Those Scrimlow bastards are gonna pay for shooting up my train.
dude, dude, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not worthy, honestly. I
Oh, also, in the Quake 2 multiplayer, you can set like player banners, and they're all from like they have stuff from not id Software boomer shooters in there, and
huh.
that's crazy. It's fucking. Hang on, let me pull it up because there's like System Shock. There's Caleb from Blood. There's like the Blood logo is in fucking Quake 2. That's some crazy crossover shit I wasn't expecting. But yeah,
Dude,
wow.
dude. I got
Bruh.
like Quake 1 and 2 to play. I got Honkai
Hell
Impact
yeah.
3rd to play. I'll eventually get the Genshin Impact. I also am gonna play Garten of Banban 5 and 6. They showed more stuff about Like a Dragon Gaiden. That game looks pretty cool. You get to play as Daigo for the first time in like the Coliseum mode if you pre-order the game. So they got me. I'm gonna pre-order the video game.
Yeah.
Um, I'm looking forward to games this year. Oh, we got one more thing that I played between the last stream and this one. I
Oh man.
played the Payday 3 beta.
Oh yeah.
It was open,
Payday.
open sign up. I signed up for it. I'm assuming so. They say that the codes are handed out randomly, but if you look at my profile on Steam, you'll see like at the time that I did that, the second game on my Steam profile was Payday 2 with over 1,000 hours played. So it's just like, all right, we'll give them a code. Um, so I played Payday 3, and it was interesting. It's like it's way more like Payday the Heist in that
Oh, interesting.
it feels more it feels less cartoony. It feels more like gritty, I should say. Um,
Interesting.
and the most surreal thing about Payday 3, and this genuinely shocked me, is it's a meme in Payday that the cops in Payday the Heist and Payday 2 are basically just Left for Dead zombies. They are brainless. They just move around. They stand still a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The cops in Payday 3 use tactics.
Oh no.
Uh there was a cloaker. If you're unfamiliar with Payday, cloakers are enemies that like jump at you and they incapacitate you when they hit you. They're kind of like hunters from Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there was a cloaker that was hanging outside the door that I needed to get to the escape through. And they did this before in Payday 2. They did this before. However, in Payday the Heist and Payday 2, they would transition from being hidden to being upright, and then there'd be like a second where you can react, and then they jump you. The moment I stepped outside that door, I was down. I got jump scared, like genuinely. Um, I have seen clips of cloakers like hiding behind regular dudes and then jumping out and getting people. I've seen clips of cloakers um just like showing up out of nowhere and getting people down with shield enemies. They're self their name describes what they do. Don't worry about it. So shields. There's a new behavior where cops tend to gather around the shields, and like they form like an actual tactical like push with the shield in front. It is actually genuinely interesting fighting the AI in Payday 3 now. They are not brainless. They are incredibly smart. They made dozers scary. Dozers are the big enemies. They have a lot of health. They do a lot of damage. In Payday 2, they're a joke because you can just walk up to one and like unload your entire clip on their face and they're down. That's it.
Yeah.
In Payday 3, you cannot do that. And also, these fuckers like sprint at you. They go into like a full on like football run.
Holy shit!
And they can knock you down. They like they are actually threatening now. When Wolf screams about the motherfucking bulldozer, like that fear, I feel it too. Terrifying. Fucking I never want to be around one of those ever again. And it's interesting. There's a whole lot less emphasis put on like pre-planning and more on actually doing the heist.
Yeah.
And this is super interesting because they have expanded the way stealth works. Stealth in Payday 2 is kind of a joke. Stealth is bare bones.
Easy.
It's very easy. It was basically just like, this is how you complete a hard heist on the highest difficulty for free. Stealth.
Payday 1 didn't really even like have stealth. It was just like, this was like a general like in this section of the map you crouch for a bit if you don't want it to be annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't really give a shit until they and then even then, like, yeah, the Payday 2 stealth is just like, it's like Metal Gear enemies, like just don't walk in front of them.
Yeah. In Payday 3, you can do. I saw somebody do that. I saw somebody complete an entire heist in stealth without putting their mask on.
Oh my god.
You can do a lot more in civilian mode than you can with than you could ever do. You couldn't do anything in civilian mode aside from if you had the right skill, you could pick up items.
Yeah.
In Payday 3, you can do everything that you need to do to complete the heist that was in the beta without putting the mask on.
Wow.
So the way they do this is that there are now detection areas where there's like a public area, a private area, and then a restricted area. If you're in the restricted area, it's shoot on sight. But if you're in the private area, you have a grace window where if a guard sees you, they just escort you back into the public area unless you've been there too many times. And that is super interesting. That provides a whole lot more like leeway for creative play. You could have somebody get intentionally caught by a guard in order to get that guard out of the area so that you can do something important that requires a lot of time. That would be very bad for a guard to find you doing. It's they've made stealth genuinely interesting now. The same way that they've made like the regular loud heist, like the gunplay, the combat, the progression, like interesting too. I've seen a lot of people say Payday 3 is Payday 2 again, and to a certain extent it feels like that, but at the same time it feels like a completely different game to me, as somebody who has played a ton of Payday 2. The
Yeah.
only worry for me about Payday 3 is the content rollout, because they've already got a season pass that costs $100.
No, what the fuck?
Well, the season pass doesn't cost 100. There's a launch edition with the season pass. It costs 100. I don't
Um,
remember how much the season pass costs. It
I mean, I
probably
guess
is.
that's not.
It's
I guess
probably
that's
like
like.
40. I don't know.
I mean, that's one of those things where, like, yeah, they're still using a season pass. Like, like most games don't even do that. They just go for like the games as a service battle
Yeah.
pass,
Yeah.
gamer sludge. So like,
Yeah. So
yeah, we're just reacting on the basis that it like, oh yeah, well there is a season pass because Payday 2 mission packs were like what, $7?
yeah.
Yeah,
So there's going to be like, I think, 8 heists at launch, and they're going to be adding more along with characters. At the launch, there's only going to be the original 4 heisters and 2 other ones that have not been announced yet. Let's not discuss leaks because I think they're being very militant about that.
yeah,
So uh, they're going to be adding more heists and more heisters with the season pass. I think they're also adding weapons. But yeah, it's I am worried. I'm tepid because it's going to be hard. I looked at the Payday 2 like player numbers, and there's so many people playing Payday 2.
yeah,
There's a lot of people, and it's going to be a ton of work to try to get most of those people on board for Payday 3.
yeah, for
And
sure.
if there is no player base, there is no game. That is a multiplayer, team based game. You have to have other players to experience it to its
Yeah,
fullest. But if they manage to get the player base satiated, get them on board, it's going to be the same as Payday 2. Only one person needs to own the DLC for them to be able to play the heist. Like for everyone in the lobby to be able to play the heist. You can also get random like player lobbies where somebody's like hosting the DLC heist. You can just join that. There's
gotcha.
also crossplay, so you have even more opportunity if you want to play with console warriors.
Cool.
The only like genuine sour spot for me at the moment is the fact that you need a Starbreeze account to play the video game.
Ugh. Oh no.
And like I am the pot calling the kettle black at this point, because you need a MiHoYo account to play MiHoYo games, and I signed up for that, no
Yeah.
problem. But like, it's different when it's a game that you have to pay for up front. Like
Yeah.
when it's a free game, it's whatever. Fuck it, steal my
Does it
info. I
even
don't
does it
care.
even does it even have like a cross save functionality or anything?
I don't know. I'm not
Like,
sure.
is there anything like tied to having an account? Because like that's how they get you to sign up for a CD Project Red account. Is they're like, oh well, if you sign up for a CD Project Red account, you can transfer your Cyberpunk save from Xbox to PC.
Let's check this out. I'm gonna look it up right now.
I know it's
Cyberpunk
on Game Pass,
cross.
and it'll probably have like Xbox Play Anywhere. It'll transfer progress between those two platforms, but I wonder if it's a general thing or not. Maybe they're just data harvesting.
Cross progression will be supported in Payday 3.
Interesting. Okay,
Okay, so if you
we
want
like
to, you
that.
can pick up the PC version and the console version. And you can switch back and forth whenever you need.
Cool.
That's
All right.
interesting. That okay, I rescind my point. Fuck it, whatever, man.
Yeah, that's you know what?
That's
There it
cool.
is. Yeah.
All right. You know,
If that's what it's for, if that's
yeah,
what that's like, its whole purpose
uh-huh.
is.
If that's
Yeah.
required for cross progression, that's a really good sign, actually, because
Yeah.
Payday 2, and
On consoles, a
even back
mess.
to Payday the Heist.
Yeah.
Payday the Heist never got the DLC that the PC version got, and Payday 2,
The
ended
console version is like a joke. They've just made like 50
like,
different versions of it instead of just
yeah,
updating
they
one.
they never like added DLC to the console version after like I think the transport heists, which were like the
Maybe.
first DLC.
Yeah.
And then they released next gen versions, which had like the next year or year and a half of new heists, and then they released other versions after that, which included the next year or two after that, and they never
Yeah.
actually rolled out updates aside from like bug fixes. They released the Nintendo Switch version and then ended support for it because it crashed and burned, and they also nearly went bankrupt, so they couldn't make it anymore.
They also gave it to like Sumo Digital to do all that. So they were just like, "Oh, we don't want to hire that company to continue work on it."
It's funny because the Nintendo Switch version had a console exclusive heister for about like 2 months.
Yeah.
Um, Very funny. They have a Joy-Con themed mask that's just there in the PC version. It's silly. Their name is literally Joy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Uh, Console version never been strong suit, but they're on Unreal Engine 4 now, which means they don't have to work with their shitty proprietary engine anymore, which was the main reason that those console versions didn't get
Yeah,
made.
it's no longer running
So
on the Riddick engine.
I am hopeful that this means, and they have said that they plan to keep the content rollout the same between all versions of the game, which
Yeah.
means console players for the very first time will be playing good versions of Payday. Um, Hopefully they stay true to their word.
Yeah.
Starbreeze, Overkill, they're the same company at this point. Fuck it. They're not good at keeping their word.
No.
If they break their word again, fucking flame them. Put them at the stake. Uh, Tell them that you're unhappy with them. But if they manage to pull it off, good on them. They're improving.
Yeah.
I
I
hope
was
they
planning on checking out Payday 3
yeah.
over on my Xbox
Yeah,
Series S.
dude, you could get it on Series S, and because there's crossplay, you
Yeah,
could play with
crossplay,
me
cross
on
progression.
PC.
Exactly. Yeah. And then if I
It's
ever want to play it on the Steam Deck, if the game isn't one of a million unfinished PC games that are releasing this year,
yeah.
then yeah,
The beta had numerous bugs. Like there were strings missing from control options, but apparently they were already aware of that, so they shipped it out to stress test the servers, and they got the data they needed from that. So that was the point. They told
yeah,
people to literally not report bugs that were not like network related, and people did it anyway. um,
incredible.
so that was something. The
Yeah.
only okay. So there's one big problem, and the fact that there's cross progression actually makes me understand why this is the case, but it's online only. You can only play with an
Yep.
internet connection. And now
Yeah.
that I know that it's constantly updating your save and keeping track of that, I understand completely why it's like that. The option to still be able to play and like not save, continue without saving. Tons of games
Yeah.
just offer that option. Just play offline alone. That would be preferable, but I understand why they don't support that now. But yeah, Payday 3.
It's still a little disappointing, especially considering especially with all the later updates that they added to Payday 2, like you could play Payday 2 solo, especially like the stealth stuff.
You had to play Payday 2 solo after they added the Epic Game Store version because they broke matchmaking.
Oh no! Oh my!
I don't know if it's been fixed. I tried playing with my friend, and we were able to join each other after an hour of troubleshooting, and there were no there were no mobs on his screen. There were no NPCs whatsoever.
Oh my god.
And on my screen, he was just standing in place. And on his screen, I was just standing in place. So that was
They also killed like the whole Linux version
they killed the Linux version, and they also
for the Epic
sunsetted
Games release.
they sunsetted the VR version, which is
Oh, what the fuck?
that is awful because like
Yeah, people really liked Payday
yeah,
2 VR.
Payday
It's like
2.
It's totally feature complete.
Yeah,
it's like
Payday
not a
2.
gimmick.
Payday 2 was like one of the best like fully featured games that was also playable in VR, and you could play with people who weren't playing in VR. So I played with a friend like a long time ago when that feature was just added, and they were like, yeah, this is really cool, this is really good. And the fact that I can't do that anymore is a bit upsetting. They're leaving
Yeah, that
Payday
really
2.
sucks.
They're leaving Payday 2 in kind of a shitty place, and I don't like that. But
Yeah, it's
fuck
not.
it.
Oh, it's not even in my library. Oh my god.
Yeah, you have to like. I think you have to enable the VR beta to even play it anymore.
That fucking sucks.
I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, that sucks,
Yeah,
dude. They're
that's
leaving
no
Payday
good.
2 in a really bad state, and hopefully they might have fixed it. Like, I don't know. I heard good things about the latest update, but I uninstalled the game because it's 90 gigabytes and I couldn't fucking play it anymore. So
Yeah.
that's the end of my Payday 2 journey. Like 1,068 hours in, or something around that ballpark. And
Oh,
I know I
man.
didn't regret my time with it for the most part. I enjoyed it. I love that game. But I am probably never going back to it. And I just hope Payday 3 fills that void and is enjoyable and does not crash and burn.
Yeah, it's also like 80 something gigs.
I don't know
It's a
how
big,
big
chunky
Payday 3 is,
game.
but it is a chunky game. Speaking of game size, I saw this like erroneous tweet going out that the Genshin new region was like larger than the entirety of Elden Ring. And
right.
that's not wrong. That's not right at all, because so like the region is like 32 gigabytes, and they were using the size underneath that, which is disk space needed to unzip update, which was 64 gigabytes.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Warframe does that.
Because there's going to be 2 copies of it on your fucking hard drive until it's done unzipping it. You
They
need
gotta
that space.
basically download and install a whole new version of the game.
Yeah.
So they gotta uninstall the old version.
And that update was also not like the region. That was the update. They were also that also contained files that they were replacing that already were on your install.
Yeah.
So like
It's just easier to swap out the old install with a new one than like just manually swap out every file.
Yeah, like Genshin's a obscenely huge game at this point, but like no. You got to read into things when people make wild statements like that. Like that one person who said that there were more polygons in 2B's rear than the entirety of Ocarina of Time. When they downloaded a porn model that had increased polygons back there.
That's crazy.
Anyway, don't worry about that.
Like the Half-Life.
Nope, that's enough. That's enough. Interesting.
Oh, that's too far. That's too far.
A little bit. You know, I'm probably crossing the line by mentioning the that word, but you know, fuck it.
YouTube. Yeah,
Don't
YouTube's
worry about
gonna
it.
shoot us in the head now.
Don't worry about it. You know, we're just talking. We were already talking about Garten of Banban. They're gonna murder us anyway.
This is the truth that the people don't want to hear. Like, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, you went to Burger King, you went to Dunkin', and they would have given you like, you order a coffee and they would have given you like 9, 10, 11 napkins. And now they just give you 2. Like, what the fuck? Like, what?
They took
I
the-
need a wad of napkins in my glove compartment at all times, and I'm
Dude.
not.
They took the Dunkachino off the menu.
They did.
But they
did.
still sell coffee and hot chocolate. What the fuck?
And with that, it has been a good morning, Source Gaming.
It's
wow.
definitely been a morning on Source Gaming that was good.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess we'll call it there. We'll put
Yeah.
we'll put
I'll
the
put our lovely patrons on screen
shout
right
out
now.
to our lovely patrons.
You can support us in the link in the description. And
Thank you for joining us on this journey today.
Thank you for joining us on the Garden of Banban recap stream where we definitely didn't talk about anything else.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't forget to put the Payday 3 topic on the screen when I was talking about Payday 3 for 20 minutes. Don't worry about it. I hope you all had a lovely time. I hope you enjoyed. To all the people watching the VOD later, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Get some tea. Get a big blanket. Get cozy.
Get cozy.
And then go back and listen to the ending first, and then go back, listen to this advice, and then Pulp Fiction it. Start from the beginning.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us, and always remember to return to the source.
See ya.